All right, what's up, y'all? We're live with Tine. Tine, what's up?
Hello, man. Hello, everybody.
Tine, super excited to have you here on stream. Oh, I'm getting the reverb. Hang on. There we go. Got us all covered. Tine, we're super excited to have you on the show here. Let me share my screen, and we can take a look. Let's go to this view. Actually, this one worked a little better last time. Uh, So you've been doing a bunch of plugins for NX, and we
Yes,
actually came across you. Was it Melos, the one that I initially contacted you about?
that was the one, yeah.
What's the name of the repo? It's like TeenSoft, I believe.
Yes, Tinsoft, the username, and the repo is NXRocks.
Cool. So here we go. NX rocks. I love the emoji. Yeah. You're all about the, you're all about the hand gestures. I love it. You've got so I initially contacted you about NX Melos, which is your most recent one. You've got a
Yes,
whole series of them here. That's
yes,
awesome.
exactly. I have five and another one in the making right now.
Cool. What is your favorite?
I will say the first one, NX Spring Boot, because I
Nice.
use Spring Boot a lot in my daily job. And it's also the most advanced in terms of features and feedback that I got from users. So yeah, that's definitely the one that I like most.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And so you have Flutter here. Very cool.
Yes.
So that's
Hmm.
Dart, right? I
Yes,
think it's Dart.
exactly. It
Okay,
is that. Yeah.
perfect. I've never heard of Quarkus. What
Well,
is that?
Quarkus is another Java framework, a little bit like Spring Boot, but it has a focus on building native images. So the
Gotcha.
idea is that you, at the end, will have something that is, we don't need the Java virtual machine to run it, kind of. So it's a great pick when you want to, for example, do serverless applications. You will have an application that will be easier to deploy, and that will take a less footprint, less memory to run actually, and will be most of the time faster than a default Java one. So it's yeah, it's also integrated as this NX Quarkus Spring plugin.
Very cool. Showing the link on there on the screen if folks want to check it out. We
Mhm.
got some people filing in. Dominique, welcome back, sir.
Hey Dom,
Sebastian, welcome. We got
this is
Teen in
actually
the
a colleague
studio.
of mine.
Oh yeah,
Yep,
Dominique.
yep. We work.
Oh
No,
neat,
no, the one after Sebastian is we
Sebastian.
work together.
Oh, very cool. Well, welcome, Sebastian. Thanks for having a great teammate who's coming on. We're looking through all of Teen's plugins. He's been very prolific here. Like I said, never heard of Quarkus before. I think I've heard of Micronaut before,
Yeah,
actually.
it's I think it came after Quarkus, and
Mhm.
is a bit like Quarkus in the philosophy. I mean, having an application that is also native at the end, and yeah, those are like two options to Spring Boot if you want to do like
Yeah, yeah,
Java web applications.
yeah. Some alternatives here, and then
Mhm.
Melos is do,
Well,
do, do.
Melos it's a bit like a learner for the let's say Dart ecosystem,
Okay.
and the idea is to help you manage your Flutter or Dart projects in like making the release process, the generation of the changelog easier than it is if you have to manage different separate packages.
Yeah,
So yeah,
makes sense. Yeah, it seems like that would be a great tool to have alongside NX.
totally.
At NX, we're actually maintaining Lerna right now,
Hmm.
as in addition to running NX. So that's been a really cool project, and making those two things work together. We actually are focusing Lerna now on publishing and versioning, and we're actually
Hmm.
using it inside of NX itself too. So Lerna
Okay.
uses NX for some things, NX uses Lerna for some things. So it's a cool little relationship there. But yeah, you said you're working on. There's going to be a new one added to this list. You said
Exactly.
this
It's
is news to me. This is not yours.
it's almost done. I still have to figure out some technical issues that I have, but
Okay.
yeah, I think it should be, I think, done in maybe 1 week or two. So
Should we hold off before you announce what it's for?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's top secret for the moment. So
Okay. Top secret. We don't want to
exactly.
Yeah, we want to get people coming back, right? So
Exactly.
we'll leave it as top secret for now. But yeah, let's go into kind of what we wanted to do today. So, like you said, your favorite is NX Spring Boot,
Yes.
and for the most part, from what we I understood from looking at this, well, Spring Boot, for maybe give some background from me. I started out with in Java before moving over to JavaScript and kind of falling in love with JavaScript over there.
Hmm.
But I was working partly with Spring Boot because I was working inside of that Java ecosystem, and yeah, I was very confused by it, to be honest,
Okay.
when I first got started, and that's fine. I feel like a lot of the stuff that Spring Boot does for you, like coming back to it now that I've gotten several more years of experience under my belt, it feels like programming in Spring or using Spring Boot framework. It wasn't so much that I was coding as much as I was configuring Spring Boot to like use the features, and I was mainly like configuring inside of Java. Does that make sense?
Not very much because the whole idea about Spring Boot is that if you follow conventions, you don't have to configure anything because this is even their motto: convention over configurations.
Ah.
So say they try to provide the minimal configuration that works for most projects, and
Mm-hmm.
if you follow the guidelines, you don't have to specify your own configuration unless you want to like customize some behavior, but then that you will need
Yeah.
to do that. But per se, you don't have to most of the time.
Gotcha. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I guess maybe our definitions of like configuring are just mismatched, but
Uh,
yeah,
What do you
it
meant by that when you say configuring?
like I suppose if I'm coding in Express, for example, let's actually show some of the code here. I've got here on screen. Let me grab the link in case people want to follow along. Copy the link for the repo, jump it in here. So this was the link to the repo we did in our previous live stream. So this was taking an Express. It's the one I have on screen here.
Okay.
So we had an Express API, and if we look at the main file, this is where everything's happening inside of our application. Like this is our whole API application, right?
Okay.
So when I look at this, let me switch it back to this view. I keep going between the two, but yeah, when I look at this, I feel like I'm actually like coding things up here. Like I'm actually working with memory. Like I'm creating an application and putting it into memory. I'm creating this to do's object literal,
Hmm.
putting it into memory, and then inside of my request handlers, I'm here. I'm kind of mutating that memory. I'm pulling things out of that memory, putting things in. It's all very exposed. Like I could do something here that breaks a lot of stuff.
Hmm.
And I think when I was using Spring Boot, it felt like, okay, let's not do this line, right? Let's not create an object literal to store all of our to dos. Let's create like a repository class,
Ah, okay.
right?
Okay.
So
Well,
that's something that's supported. Like that repository interface is already supported inside the Spring Boot framework, correct?
yes, it's a kind of another. I mean, Spring Boot itself is not. It's composed of many like third parties tools or other tools that are affiliated to Spring Boot. And
Right.
to do like to easily communicate with database, you really use, for example, the Spring Data GPA, which is the Spring Boot subproject to handle this part. I
Right.
mean, communicating with the database, so that you can that way separate concerns, because I think here you have everything mixed, and I'm not sure that this kind of code can be like easily maintained. If you have like a different layer, because there is also a matter of having different layers when you
Yeah.
do like Java development. So that means that you will have like a layer for your repository, so the stuff that will communicate with database. Then you can have like on top of that another layer that will use this repository, and that way you can easily separate concern, test things in like in separate ways, and avoid mixing everything together, which,
Right, right.
in my opinion,
So
is complicated.
right. So I'm like starting to create like a repository interface here inside of the TypeScript code. And the
Hmm.
idea would be like we could do something in here. There's some interface that this implements so that I could have an in-memory repository, because that's essentially what this is, really. Like these two lines just create that repository.
Okay.
And I'm just like these are totally exposed. I'm just working with them. Like I'm just like saying plus plus count inside of
Yeah.
here.
Mm.
Uh, but like to your point, if I want to go to an actual database, like an actual data source, and I want to like switch these things out
Hmm.
so that it's actually pointing at a database because I want this stuff to persist, I have to go and I have to like rewrite most of this code, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Yeah.
Versus what putting a repository, what putting like that kink inside of our graph lets us do is we could program to the interface now. We can program to the interface, the repository interface, and this code can be completely oblivious of what's happening inside of, whatever this repository class is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
And I think in the end, it will also be beneficial because the code will be like easier to read, because on this side you will have like less
yeah,
verbose things, and once you want to have more detail, you can always go to the interface, the repository, to see how things are actually done. And as we
right.
said, decide if you want to change the way it's implemented, you can always do that, and in a specific part in the code, without having to like touch the main part, which is
Right.
independent from that implementation.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think so. So for me, I feel like this is more accessible to me, and I think for folks used to JavaScript, most people could just look at this and understand what's going on. It might take them a little while to see. Okay, let's see how Zach's doing this. Okay, uh, a minute later, hopefully they should be able to understand this.
Hmm.
Uh, Versus, I think what part of the advantages of Spring is that the a lot of these things are already built for you. Like I could really just pull them off the shelf and say, okay, here we go. Like
Yeah.
this is all set. We're ready to go with this. I don't have to write anything by hand, kind of like what I'm doing now. That's what I meant by configuring. I felt
Okay.
like I wasn't programming on some baser level. I was just using the thing that's the stuff that the Spring Boot framework gave us, and
Yeah.
that's kind of how that went along. But let's go ahead and jump into the code here. And yeah, we got some people waving. I'm always bad at
Hey,
saying
Nicola.
hi to folks.
This is another friend of mine.
Oh, nice. Nicholas, welcome. Thanks for showing up for Tine. Great to have him here. Sir Khan, welcome back, sir. Mike Schilling,
Hey, Mike, another colleague.
another friend. Awesome.
Exactly.
Husev,
Usam
welcome.
as well. Hello,
Wow,
Usam.
everyone's here for Tine. This is awesome.
I
This is
kind
very
of
cool.
tell them that I will going doing this live stream today, so we all are connected and supporting. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, yeah, and Danish, we're getting started soon. Let's I want to show folks just what things are working where our starting point is right now in it.
Hmm.
Maxime, welcome to
Hello, Maxime.
another one team. Nice. Oh, this is awesome. Very cool. So we've got here two terminals here, one running our Dino API and one running our React front-end application. If we
Hmm.
come over here, we can see what this is hosted on localhost 4200. And here's our awesome, I'm a front end expert. I think you can tell by the awesome UI that we have here. So this is a to-do list application. So if I add something here, it's going to come into our list. Let's take a look at the network tab, just so we can see how this interaction is going about. So let's get this a little bit bigger, kill that. It'll hit refresh. We can see when we start up, we're doing, why is this all wonky? There you go. I grab it over there, I guess. So we're doing a GET request when we first start up. That's going to get us a list of all of the to-dos we have. So we can see here,
Hmm.
that's just the list being reflected. If we hit this, we're going to send a toggle request over, and that's going to respond with the end result of the ticket that was toggled and toggle it back It's going to look the same. It's just going to have switched. React is handling all this in the on the front end side to make sure this is all handles correctly. Adding something, test two, and see that it hit a create endpoint and returned us the ticket that was created. And if we delete one, we could see that's going out and sending a delete request as well. So pretty much what we're going to be doing today is we're going to make a new, we're going to install first Tine's plugin. We're going to use that plugin to create a new application. We're going to try doing some stuff with using a remote dev environment. This is new to me, so T's going to show me some of that stuff too, which is really cool. If you need to, or I guess if you want a specific version of Java that you want to develop in, but you don't
Yeah.
want to install that on your local system, is that the main benefit there, Tine?
Yeah, this is the main thing because before you will need to have everything set up in your machine, and
Mm-hmm.
if you want to switch, it's a bit complicated, and
Right.
especially you may not want to install all those stuff in your machine as well. So having
Yeah.
like something that is isolated is a good way to get started. And also, if you want to share this configuration with another colleague, you can just send it the configuration, and you can recreate the exact same environment on his side. So.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, in JavaScript world, we have this tool called NVM, which is amazing for this. I feel like it's a much more difficult to switch Java versions, right?
Well, you do have the same thing in Java as well. You have
Oh,
tools that help
interesting.
you switch version of Java. There is a tool that is called, for example, SDK main, which does just that. But again, um, for me, the benefit of having a dev container is that really you have everything set up once and you never have to switch again. And it's tied to your project. If you want
Gotcha.
to switch the version of Java, you just modify the configuration, you
Hmm.
rebuild, and that's it.
Very cool. All
Yeah.
right. We got some more folks here in chat, so let's say hi, Ronald. Another
Hi,
dude.
Renaud, another
Everyone from
colleague.
YouTube seems to be coming from you, for you,
Yep,
dude. So that's
those are
that's
colleagues
awesome.
from my company. It's fair.
Very cool. I like the profile picture here too. It looks like he's having a good time. And Danish, yeah, Spring Boot is like the go-to microservices framework in Java. Yeah,
Yes,
I think it's what
totally.
it may be the go-to framework in general, like not just in Java, right? I don't know.
In Java for sure. In
Mhm.
general, I don't know, but in
Yeah,
Java for sure, it's definitely for me if there is one framework to know when you doing Java work development, is this one. So it's really central.
very cool. All right, well let's go to installing the plugin now. I
Hmm.
think the way I normally do this is if we do npx nx list. So this list command is part of the nx CLI,
Hmm.
and it's getting hard now because we have so many plugins here
Plugins. Yep.
inside of the repository. We're going to have to work on pruning some of these up. But we can see over here
Hmm.
nx rocks. Maybe we just like grep this for at nx rocks. That could show us the specific ones here
Yes.
for how to do these. So yeah, there it is. NX Rocks Spring Boot, NX plugin to generate, run, package, build, and more Spring Boot Spring Boot projects in your NX workspace. So I'll go ahead and install that. So we'll do. Actually, I think if we do npx list at nx rocks slash nx spring boot, it'll give us installation instructions, right? So do
Hmm.
that. We can just copy this.
Okay, I
Uh,
wasn't aware about this
yeah,
command.
yeah.
Cool.
Well, now you know.
No, I know.
But really, all we did here is we're saying yard add with the dash d
Okay.
flag and the dash w. So
And
dash d is going to say put it in as a dev dependency. So
okay.
it just finished running. So if I look at my package JSON file, this is at the root of our project. We should see, yeah, at xrocks Spring Boot was added to our dependencies, and it was added as a dev dependency. So that's what the
Okay.
D did. And what the W did was it just told us to make sure it gets installed at the workspace level. So at the root package JSON instead of inside of, if we look at just we've got a whole bunch of package JSONs here. So that
Okay.
W is going to make sure it's in the right one. Oh, we have
And
a question here for you too. Uh,
yes.
was that what you were looking at, Teen?
Would you recommend an Xlog? Sure. Sure. I mean, you will see that this plugin is basically the same as what Spring does with a generator, Spring.io. So basically, at the end, what you will generate will be aligned with what you will have generated anyway if you went to this website directly. And on top of that, you have all the features that NX brings. So it's definitely something that you can use in your company.
Yeah, it's something we get asked about a lot. Actually, is supporting other languages, in particular Spring Boot. Another one we get a lot is .NET. One of our engineers at inside
Craig?
of Narwhal is working on one of those as well too.
Hmm.
So this is a big step forward for us, being able to, like, we've always been able to support multiple languages and multiple frameworks, but we're really starting to try to move that way. And seeing your plugin here is a great step in that direction for sure. So, so yeah, we've got the plugin installed at this point. I guess if we take a look at some stuff in here, we got a question here from Jacob. Oh, I love that profile picture.
I think there is a plugin for that as well.
Yeah, I think there's some community plugins here.
Mm.
Let's just do. We'll go to like where I was grepping the list, and we'll just go for Golang. I bet there's some that come up.
It's
Oh, maybe not.
NXGo, I believe, by name.
NX Go. Let's just do grep
Yes.
for Go. Um,
Um,
I don't know what's going on with that. Grep for Go. Mm. Uh-oh. Can I find module NX Narwhal Dino? Wonder what's going on there. Seems like maybe when I ran that installation, we hit a problem somewhere.
yeah, I
So
think you had the same problem when you did the live stream with Laura, I think, from a couple of weeks ago. And after
yeah,
the NPM install, there was this exact same error. I don't know
yeah.
the cause, but
I think what happened is we're looking at our at our package JSON. I actually don't have the dev dependency for Dino inside of here. Somehow that must have gotten added to our package to our node modules before,
okay.
uh, without having it actually listed inside of our package JSON. So if I look at where's Narwhal, Dino's probably not in this list. Yeah. So let me just add Narwhal Dino back in. So we'll do yarn add -d Narwhal Dino. And let's see if that fixes our stuff for us. I imagine that's what's going on because the yeah, there we go. So let's
Cool.
grep for Go. Oh, forgot to grep. There it is.
NXGo, I see it.
NX Go. There it is.
Yes.
There's NX
Ah, there's
Golang as
another one.
well. Yeah, see, this is we're
Gee.
taking on some work this next iteration to try to give some more feedback. We're looking to add, like, I think just some marker of how many downloads it has and maybe how many GitHub stars it has, just so people
Cool.
can know, is this a good plugin or not.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, there you go. So there's our Golang support. If we take a look inside of the NX console here now too, is this going to mess up as well? Oh my goodness. Yeah, don't know what's going on with that, but we should be able to do npx nxg at nx rocks / spring boot.
You forgot the NX at the top, at the beginning of slash, after the slash.
Oh,
Yes,
nx,
yeah.
like so.
Yes.
Yes, cool. And then we could do -- help on here, and that should give us oh, I forgot. Application. Can I find
No,
generator?
it's project, the name of the
Project.
yes.
Gotcha. I think I maybe skipped a step here. So this will tell us all the options around the project generator. I guess if I wanted to list all of the things that we got from this plugin, we can actually do, now that it's installed. So before it was installed when we ran npx nx list for with the project name.
Hmm.
Before it's installed, it tells us how to install it. After it's installed, it'll actually tell us all the things that are inside of
Mm,
it. So we can
cool.
see here the generators, the project, and the link. So you wrote this, by the way, Tine.
Yes,
And
yes.
were you not aware of this feature?
No, because I know what generator are inside the plugin
Right.
and what executor are
so
inside it.
so obviously
But
you never need to know about it, but
yeah,
yeah,
no.
when you built the plugin, when you built the generator JSON file and the executor JSON file,
Hmm.
that's actually the information we're using to get all of this information. Um,
Okay.
and then
I,
we, yeah, go ahead.
I was always looking into the NX console to have this information as well because I
Yeah,
think they list the generators available, and from there I always have the information as well.
yeah. Let me try reloading the window here just to see if we can get NX console to kick up. Um, Yeah, it looks like we're having some issues with that. So I guess we'll just go without edX console today. But the same information we use to populate the CLI is being used to populate the NX console plugin as well. And
Okay.
when we ran it, the dash dash help command on this specific generator as well, that gives us all the information. This is the same data that's populating the web form you'd be
Mhm.
using if you were using NX console to, build this stuff. I wonder if I do like Command Shift P, I do like NX generate. Uh, that's not working either. That's unfortunate. I'll have to reach out to our NX console team to figure out what's going on with that because that's troublesome.
And
But
if you try to maybe close and relaunch your VS Code,
yeah, well, I just reloaded the window. We could
okay.
try. Let's quit it and we can pull it back up. Maybe it'll come back. There we go. Do do do. All the startup things are happening. There's our shell history coming back. Let's see. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the problem. That's usually what's going on. Let's not save my changes here. We could clear out all of the windows. So yeah, I guess let's show out how to do this stuff inside of NX console because I really like the this flow tends to make more sense, especially if you're not familiar with what's going on in NX.
Mm.
So clicking the generate here, based on the plugins we have installed, and actually if we can do npx nx list here on the command line and scroll away all the way up to the top. It'll actually show our installed plugins that we have for this workspace. So that's what's being used to populate this list, is all of the installed plugins, all of their generators exist in this list. If we want to filter down to Spring Boot, there's our specific ones. So we want to make a project today, right, Tine? So
Yes.
what's a link? Maybe let me ask that.
Well, the link is another generator that you can use after you have created your Spring Boot application. And
Okay.
let's say that you have also a front-end application made with Angular or React,
Oh,
and the
okay.
link will only like link the two, so that if you make a change on the front on your backend, if the front end that depend on this backend is run again, it will automatically perform the build command on the backend for you, so that you don't have to
Gotcha.
do it.
Oh,
So
that's neat.
basically, it just creates an implicit link between the two projects.
That's very cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's close this one out and we'll start by making our project. So we'll go
Mhm.
to generate. We'll use the UI and we'll say Spring project.
Yes.
So what should we call it here? I guess we should call it to do Spring to do API, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Spring to do API. Ah, dry run's going. I'm not typing fast enough. So as you make changes inside of this web form, we're actually running this generator with a dry run. So what that's doing is if we expand this a bit more, it's showing all of the changes that would happen to our file system without actually making them. You'll
Mhm.
see the only changes we have right now are the changes we've made to our dependencies. So yeah,
Yeah. And the good
Uh,
thing about that is that if there is an error, an issue, nothing will
mhm.
get modified in your file system. So you don't have to like revert or something like that. It's
Yeah,
pretty neat.
yeah. So we could kind of test it out without actually doing it, which is that's a great feature. I love that piece about it.
Mm.
Do we want to set any other options here?
Yes, so we are building an application.
Hmm.
We can decide whether we want to use Maven or Gradle as a build system. And yeah, you can have a Maven or Gradle. I think Maven is a good option.
Okay.
And you have to define, I mean, if you want to use like third-party libraries, you have to define them as well here, like a list of third-party library that you want to use. For example, if you want to build a web application, you will need
Hmm.
to import in some Spring Web, which is the part of Spring that does the web thingy.
I
And
see.
if you
Okay.
want to add support for like querying a database using GPA, which is like a layer
Yes.
between your code and database, you can also have this dependency included.
Yeah. So I think for what we're doing, we kind of want to do exactly what we did here. If we look at our main TS file for the API, I think we want to just recreate it where we're just storing our to dos sort of in memory. So for
Mhm.
that, do we use the starter data JPA? Is that
Yes, you will
the
need
right
that.
one?
So it's I think the name is GPA. You can just type in GPA, and this will be a web application, so you will also need to add the web dependency as well. So
Okay.
comma web, and you have to put a
Is there a
comma between the two.
space
No,
or
you can put spaces as you want, but you need to have a comma between the two.
gotcha?
And if you want to like have a fake in-memory database, you can put in H2, which is like just that in an in-memory database. And yeah,
Got it.
that's pretty much it for the
So
use
cool.
case.
Now I know this stuff because we talked about it before, but if I wasn't
Yes.
familiar, how would I learn about these packages? Where would I go to find
Well,
them?
that's the part that I had to improve in the plugin because I mean this is what is mentioned in the description. The list of the IDs that you have to put in here is listed on the Spring IO website, but as I cannot fetch that before the generator actually runs, I
Hmm.
cannot have this dynamic fetching of those data.
Right.
I rely on you to like go there and like pick the IDs and write those IDs here back.
Yeah.
This is something that I'm trying to improve, but as the generator API is done right now, I cannot really do that. So I'm still thinking on a way to like improve the user experience there.
Yeah, that would be really cool. You do have in the
Yes,
description here, as we can see inside of the
yeah,
console. I guess we probably
exactly.
could have seen it if we look at my other terminal here, where we ran the help for this one. I think it's probably here. The description,
Yes,
yeah, that
exactly.
right
It's the
there.
same, yeah, the same description.
Yeah.
So
I
by
could
going
just
there, you
copy
will,
that and we could jump into at least see. Well,
there is a
I
lot
guess
of them.
that's not the best UI.
That's the reason why I don't want to have this list embedded in the generator because it
Right.
changes all the time, and I
I
want the
see.
generator to be as up to date as possible. So it's your job for the moment to go there, fetch the ID. So it's actually the part you see there is a dependency section on the first line, and
Hmm.
each key on this object is actually the ID that you need to put back in the dependency section.
Yeah. Let's maybe let's just do a new paste and we'll format that format uh, let's I guess maybe I can save this first as like a food JSON, right? And now we could get it formatted. So
Yeah,
yeah, like you said, there's all the dependencies here.
exactly.
This
Each key in the dependency object is actually the ID that you need to put back in
okay.
the text area.
So if we
Um,
were to look grep here aside for H2, okay, there's
yeah,
H2.
H2.
Got
You
it.
can search for web, for example, which is also the ID for the Spring Data Web. I mean the Spring Web package,
Yeah,
and yeah, that's basically the idea.
very
And as
cool.
a matter of fact, I'm actually improving this because I noticed that in the latest version of NX, the version 15.8, you guys introduced a new NX interactive environment variable that
Hmm.
kind of allow you to know that you are running in the interactive mode or not. And
Right.
based on that, you can prompt for additional information after the
Yes.
generations. So I'm trying to like adapt that to have this
Yeah.
dynamic fetching of the information you need here.
Yeah, exactly. So like we'll see if I make a change here. When we run inside the terminal, we are actually always adding on, if I can find the command. Yeah, we're always adding on this no interactive flag to
Yes.
make it so that we specifically skip over interactive stuff. So interactive would be like if I ran the command from the terminal,
Hmm.
some generators might ask you, do you want A, B, or C, or like some radio button thing where you can select multiple options of some set. So those are interactive prompts. You can
Yes.
still fill those out eagerly by like adding a flag for each ones of those per the CLI spec.
Okay.
But
So
yeah,
this is like the default version. I mean, the default value, right? The one that you specify in the schema JSON.
yeah. So the we'll use the default here if we have no interactive set. Yes,
Okay.
or we'll either use the default if one is present, or I believe we'll use just undefined for that option if there is no default present. I believe.
Yeah, I tried to do that actually, and I had an issue because when you don't specify the default value, it thinks
Mhm.
that the field is required, and you
Ah,
have to fill it in the NX console. And my problem right now is that even if I like consider the NX interactive flag when I do the generation, so I can
right.
prompt for additional information on top of the default one. But the problem that I have is that I still have the entry for the old non-interactive dependency property in my schema. And
I
I don't know
see.
how to skip this one because I will have two then to specify. I don't know if you see what I mean.
Um, Kind of. I'd probably need to to talk with some people on the core team to figure out what's going on. I think I understand your problem. From what I've done with writing some generators in the past, figuring out how they work with like no interactive and not. But yeah, let's talk about that off stream if that's cool, Teen, and we can
Yeah,
like keep going forward on this.
no problem.
Because I think we're ready to. If we look at our dry run, I think we're ready to go. Like we're
Uh,
generating a
I
POM
I think
XML.
at the end you added something weird in the dependency list. I don't know if you have removed. No,
Yeah,
it's
I
okay
think I
now.
removed it.
Okay,
I
okay.
just added some weird stuff so we could get the dry run to hit, and we could
Hmm.
take a look at the options. So maybe that's another interesting thing. If you're ever like running, oh shoot, I got rid of the plugin. I got rid of the terminal because I pressed the button. But
Ah,
if you ever want to like see what you're running inside of the NX console,
mm,
we always just print out the task that we're executing here. So I could just press a button to kill that console and paste it in, and it should have the same effect as what we
yeah.
have been running before. So it looks like we're. Is there an error downloading the? Let's take a look at the command I actually ran. Maybe that's probably yeah. It's
This is the other
this
one. Yeah.
H21. That's why. But there we go. So dry run looks good. Do you want to just run it without the dry run here, and we can make our project?
Yeah.
Let's do it. And there we go, I think. Um, let's close the terminal and we can take a look here inside of the source control. This is everything that got generated for us inside
Hmm.
the file explorer. Looks like we created inside here the Spring To Do API. So looking at the source main, so here's our application, our Spring Boot application.
Yes.
And I want to look at the POM XML because this is where our dependencies would have been added in, correct?
Exactly. Yeah.
So if I look for H2, there it is, H2. If I look for web, is that the right one?
Yes, that's the one.
Perfect. And then what was the other
GPA
one we
is the
did?
one above it.
JPA. Oh,
Yeah.
uh, there it is. Perfect. Cool. So all of our dependencies are here.
Hmm.
Um, At this point, maybe we could talk about using the remote development thing that you had
Yes.
mentioned. Now,
Yes.
if I run Java, I think it's Java Just S version. Yeah, so we can see I do have the OpenJDK 701 installed on my local machine, but if this was not the case, or we wanted to target a specific version, this is where it could be helpful to use a remote container. Correct?
Yes, exactly.
Cool. So how do drive me for some of this, Teen? How do I get that set up?
So it's very easy actually. There is an extension that you have to install in your VS Code in order
Hmm.
to have support for the remote development mode. And I think the name is remote container or dev container, something like that.
Remote.
There's actually an extension pack that you can also install that contain everything, including this specific extension.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Is this the right one? This looks
this
like maybe
is
it's not.
yeah, this is the one.
Cool.
So dev container, and once you have this one, I mean this extension, you can then create in your project, your repository, a specific folder that has the extension, the name that dev container, and
Hmm.
inside you can have like a JSON file with the same name, and in there you will have the instruction to actually define what is the setup that you want to have for your workstation.
Cool.
Um,
So I created the .dev container directory. That's what we need, right? And then we need a dev
I think
container.
the exact name is I think there is a dot in between. Yeah, that's it. Dev container.json,
Okay.
and I even think that you can even ask VS Code to do that for you. There is
Oh, cool.
if you hit Control Shift P, there is a way to have this automated as well.
Yeah.
I think yeah, this
Right
one
there.
exactly. And here you can like define exactly what kind of environment or dependency you want to use. So for example, if you want to do Java development, so you probably choose this
This first
um,
option right here
exactly in Java. Then you
is
can pick the
17.
version, so 17 to match the project that we just generated. And
Hmm.
you can decide if you want to have a build tools install like
It,
Maven and Gradle.
so we
You
we
can
want Maven here because we chose
we
Maven.
want Maven, yeah, we want Maven.
Sounds good.
Yes, and
Additional features. Anything here?
we can also install things that are related to Node if you want to
Oh
run
yeah.
NX at the end. So you will specify Node, uh, the Node environment as well.
Gotcha. So we'll add node and hit OK. Uh,
And
keep
uh,
defaults, I guess.
yes, keep default is good. Maybe no, choose the other one. So up too late. But
Sorry.
with the other, sorry, with the other option, you could have like better control on what will be like installed.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go ahead and overwrite and see what it gave us. Okay.
Yes.
So Java image. Okay. I
Yeah.
think this looks good. Let's see where node. Did we miss node? Find node. Features
Yeah, it
node
is
one.
installed.
Okay.
And I think by default it uses the Node LTS version. And
Okay.
that's
I think
both the
that's
part that
18
you, yeah,
right
you
now.
could like customize if you are choosing the other option.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm using an 18.4, it looks like, for mine right now. So cool. Sounds good. Um, and we got some other options here we could comment in if we wanted to use them. So neat.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now we have the stuff for our dev container, and I have
Hmm.
Docker running. I just always have Docker running. So
Cool.
Docker's up. What do I do to hit that now? Is that this button down here in the corner?
Normally, yeah, you can switch now to ask VS Code to open your project inside the container that you just created.
All
So
right.
if you click this button
Uh,
on the left, you could reopen in container. This is the fourth option.
okay.
Yeah.
Let's
And
try
now
that.
it will build this Docker image that contains all your setup, and it will actually put the code inside this image, and you will have everything installed as we set this up.
Oh, very neat.
Yeah,
We'll
that
we'll
way
test my
you could
network
even
speed
like
right now to see how fast this
yeah,
can
that's very
go.
cool. You could like even share this file and have your
Uh-oh. Let's see. Testing, testing. You still there, Teen? I think we may have lost Teen for now. Uh, Unfortunate timing because it's just as I got into this. But Yeah. Looks like we're in a dev container here. Yeah, we lost Teed. Teed, come back. I guess we could just chat here. Hopefully, Teen will come back in a second, but we can just take a look at what's going on here. You can see it looks like we still have our Git history or our source control stuff, so that's kind of neat. Um, I and looking at it, I don't think we want to. So we could git ignore our .dev container directory to make it so that this doesn't come in. Teen's back. There's two teens now. Let me get rid of the
I
other
connection.
teen.
Right?
I thought it was me for sure because it was happening right as I was creating the dev container. But
Maybe it is you. You have broken the internet.
I've broken the, or maybe there's just two teens hanging around, and this other teen is legit. Oh, maybe it's StreamYard. I don't know. It's our provider, but yeah. I was just looking at this in terms of the dev container configuration files here, I guess.
Hmm.
Should we git ignore that? Or I was thinking we'd probably just leave it in case other people wanted to create the same development container that we are
Exactly.
using.
Yeah, that's the point actually. Is the if you have it like committed to the project, it's for me it's become as part of the project as the other
Mm,
stuff. And by that, if people open the same project inside their VS Code, they will have everything installed. So they will have the same version of Java, the same version of Maven, and everything else that you need to get started working on the project.
excellent. So really cool. And now we can tell we're in it because we're over here.
Yes.
And is there any lag? Or
I think it depends on your machine. For
yeah.
sure, it's not as fast as if you were on your like normal hard drive. But to be honest, when doing like Node.js development or Java development, it's fast enough most of the time. So
Okay.
it's not a big issue.
Very neat. Well, we've got our dev container set up. We've generated our project. Why don't I go ahead and drop a commit here? So I'll do git add and git commit project and dev container created. And just to give us a fresh git history.
Mhm.
Because now I want to go in and let's actually do some work on trying to make our API work for our to-do application. So how do I get this started up? I imagine I want to just run like a build or a serve maybe on the Spring to-do API. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. This is part of what the plugin does. It generates for you some executors. So there is a build executor, but also a serve executor if you want to like serve the application. And once you have everything ready, you just hit npx ng nx serve the name of the project, and then
Right.
it will serve this application for you. You will
I'm
actually
realizing now that I'm in a dev container, did I lose all my extensions? Do I?
no, actually, they are always, I mean, they are also available, and you can by default, I mean, you can have some installed by default when you start the dev container, but if you
Okay.
don't want, you can also activate them. There
Okay.
is, when you go to the extension section, there is a button on each plugin, I mean, each extension that tells you if you want to install it in the dev container or not.
Ah, okay.
See?
So
Yeah.
let's go ahead and add this in for our
Yes.
dev container.
Yes. And by the way, this part, you can also have it automated in the dev container JSON that we just created. You
Oh,
can
neat.
have defined a set of extension that will be installed at the installation of the dev container itself.
Do you know how, do you know
Well,
what
I
to
don't recall
do?
the name. I think it's called feature or settings, something like that. VS Code settings. It had that in the name, but
Um,
I believe the syntax has changed because this was working on my machine some time ago and it recently stopped working. But I haven't figured out why. The name may have changed a little bit.
yeah.
But
Well,
I do have an example of the previous name in my repo, so you could use that also.
gotcha. Here, why don't I have you take a look at this question, Teen, and I'm going to see if I can maybe Google that while you're looking at this. So,
Yes.
let's see. So I'll Google for the plugin.
There's actually, I think, a specification for the dev container because this is something new. And in the specification, they tell you what settings is available or not.
They're plugged in by default. But yeah, have you while I'm googling this, have you do you have like an example mid-sized project like Ruben's asking here?
Yes, actually, there are some that were created by the community. There is, if you go to the plugin page, you have actually a way to find every project that are on GitHub that uses this plugin. And I believe there is a couple, I mean, a lot of them now. You can have some example. I have one in mind, but I cannot recall the URL. But if you go to there is a section in GitHub where you have all the packages that are available. I think if you go to it is in the root section of the repository. If you go back like in NXRocks,
Yeah.
there is on the uh,
Used by right here.
exactly used by, and there you can like pick each individual package and see the other project that uses them.
Let me drop that in here as a comment so folks can take a look.
Yes.
Um, is there anyone that stands out particularly? Maybe we
Yes,
could
but
even use ours, the one we're working on right now, eventually.
I don't think this one is really that big of a project,
Yeah, this
but
is really small. I don't think this qualifies for mid-size, but
yeah, I don't think
yeah.
either. But there is a user that's very great, by the way, because he had helped me create, I mean, fixing a lot of issues. And if you switch to on the top of the page, you have to choose the package because here you are seeing not the NX Spring Boot package, but another one. If you switch at this, you see you have a button package at the right of the screen. It's
Mm,
uh, a little bit below.
a little bit
You see,
below.
yeah,
Oh,
here,
I see. I see.
yeah, and
So,
here you have to switch to NX Spring Boot.
gotcha. And
And
then go to
the
dependencies.
one I have in mind, I think
Oh,
his name is T. Schaefer, something like that. He works for
mm,
a company called something Bionics. Um,
bio.
well, I have to Google it. I don't recall the name by
There it
heart.
is. Is this the right Sage by Bio
Yes, exactly.
Networks?
Yes, this is the one. And they do use it a lot because they have created a lot of issues over the time that are fixed, of course, but they have pretty intensive usage of the plugin. And as you can see, it's a pretty big project as well.
Very cool. Let me drop that inside of the chat logs as well.
Yes.
So
And the
this
one
looks
that
very
the
cool.
person that I had in mind was Thomas Schaefer because
Oh
he
yeah,
helped me a lot in fixing some, I mean, in reporting some issues that I had in the plugin. So yeah, if you are listening, Thomas, thank you for that.
yeah. It looks like there's a NX Spring Boot example here as well.
Yes.
So very cool. Very neat. Let's see if I can figure out managing extensions. Is this? Am I even on the right place?
Yes, this is the page I had in mind when I talk about the specification page.
Yeah,
And
I thought it would be for sure just something in that JSON file we could add really easily. Just give it like the
yeah,
ID of the.
if you go to my plugin, my repository again, you will have an example of that.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Let's go back to
yes,
like you said.
there is a dev container at the root.
Oh, neat. So you're using this yourself inside of
I am
NX
using it.
Rocks.
That's why I talk about it.
Nice.
Yeah, here you can have an example.
Let's
So
find
at
NX.
the
Does this look for console? Maybe no.
yes,
Yeah, this is our old ID. We're actually looking at actually changing the ID inside of the marketplace. The
okay,
name has changed, but yeah, it's Narwhal, our old company name, and then Angular console, which is the previous iteration of the NX console.
okay,
So what did we? Oh shoot, I forgot at what level we added that now. Customizations, VS Codes, extensions. Let's just copy all of this. I'll
yes.
drop it in here. Was there already a customizations? No, I don't think so. And we can
And yeah,
just.
yeah. By the way, I forgot about that, but you can even do that quicker if you go to the extension section in VS Code.
Mhm.
You can list an extension and ask VS Code to install it inside the dev container, so that it will do what you are just about to do.
Okay.
There is on each extension the ability to add it. You see on the yeah, you add it in the context menu. You have the ability to install it inside the dev container. I don't know what you hit earlier, but I just saw the entry. Yeah, here
Okay. Add to
exactly.
there we go.
Yes,
That would have
yes.
saved us a lot. I don't have it
I
saved.
just remember this, but
Yeah. Let me remove this
yes.
and save it, and we'll add it
I think you
to.
have an extra a missing comma or an extra colon
It
at the
fixed
end.
it. Maybe it didn't.
No, no, you yeah.
There we go.
Nope, no. You yeah, that's
This
the one
one.
you have to remove. Yeah,
Ah,
no, that's okay.
my fat fingers always come in at the worst time. But yeah, customizations, VS Code extensions, and there it
Yes,
is. Awesome. All right, so now we've got the NX console here. Client is not running. Oh no. Uh, do we need to reload the UI? Reload window. Oh, that's going to reopen the remote. we
yes.
we may end up have it.
Whenever you
Oh,
change the dev container, you have the ability to rebuild it, and
gotcha.
you can skip it, but it will prompt you to rebuild if something has changed inside this file.
Yeah, I think we might be out of luck right now for running the NX console plugin. Unfortunately, let's just run the build from the or the serve process
Mhm.
from the terminal. So we're on NX serve Spring to do API, I believe,
Yes.
and let's see if that works.
So as this will be the first time that we run the command, so Spring Boot will actually install every dependency that it needs to do the job. And you do have an error. I don't know what is like.
Yeah, let's run that with verbose. I'm not sure what's going on with this. We should find it. Hopefully, we'll see. We may have to jettison the dev container if this doesn't work.
I don't think it's
Uh,
related to the dev container. I
okay.
think it's something else.
What are you thinking?
I'm
Um,
seeing some stuff related to Deno here. So
I see. Dino JSON. Yeah. Why
I don't
is
know why
this
he's
happening?
calling Deno because did you specify the default project as being Deno? Maybe.
Um, I wouldn't have thought so. I don't think that would have mattered because we're providing the project name here.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
So I don't think that would matter, but it's possible that the fact that Dino is in here as a dependency may be messing around with NX a little bit, similar to how we had seen it before. Let me just see if I take a look at the node modules. Is it in here? Let's debug what's going on. Yeah, Dino's
Yeah,
in
I saw
there.
it. Mm.
So that should be fine. I wonder if there's maybe a version mismatch between Dino and the other stuff. So let's maybe how about we remove Dino just so we can get this to work, or see if we can get that to work for us. So we'll go to our project.json first, and it should be the root project JSON. But I don't see it in here. Is there not a project JSON at the root? Or package JSON.
Packages.
That's what I was looking for. My mistake. All right, let's find Dino and we'll remove it. And then let's also go and we'll run the remove generator to remove our Dino projects right now. So we'll
Mhm.
do npx nxg at narwhal workspace remove, and we'll give it, I think the project's names were just Dino to do. There might be have been an end to end with that as well. No, it doesn't look like it. So we could just remove the Dino API. Dino API. Let's do a dry run first. Make sure that works. And oh, we got some questions here while waiting for this to run. I'm actually wondering. Yeah, that might be a problem here because I can't run NX because the extension's in. Maybe I have to do a yarn there first. But yeah, Ruben responded, going to migrate a large backend to a monorepo using your plugin. Awesome.
Cool.
That's very cool, Ruben. I hope that the example helps.
Yeah.
Oh,
If you have
this is
any issue, Ruben, don't hesitate to find an issue on the GitHub. I try to be responsive and to address them.
yeah. So let's do this. What Caleb said here. Before doing the removal, we'll go to the nx.json and let's look for plugins. Yeah, let's get rid of this right here and see if that actually helps. Let's see. If this works, we might be able to not remove the Dino API,
Yeah.
but oh yeah, there it goes. Let's try now if we do the serve. Cancel. We'll do npx nx serve spring to do. Oh, I'm blocking everything.
Yep.
Caleb says then we probably need to run an nx reset. Let's do that too. Do npx nx reset, and then we'll run our serve and see if that works. I wonder if that was what was blocking the NX console as well. But I don't know. Hard to tell. Okay, so the daemon is stopped. We've successfully reset. Let's go ahead and run npx nx serve and then spring to do API. Hey, okay,
Much
that's
better.
further than we got before. We're making progress here. There we
Yes.
go. Okay, Maven's going nuts.
Yeah, this is the first time that we run the command, so you have to install everything,
Yeah.
of course. And but it's a bit different from the Node module, because with Node you will have like the entire Earth. Here it's a little bit less the entire Earth. So
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. That looked like a lot of stuff happening right there, dude. I don't know. But yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. We've got all this stuff coming in.
and it's
Looks
almost
like
over. Once
yeah,
this, yeah, it's good. I think he
it's
has
good.
done.
Okay.
Yeah,
So when we
Tomcat
ran,
started. Yeah,
let's can we like look at it on is a web server hosting right now? Can I look at it somewhere?
yes, it should be running on the default 8080 port.
Okay.
But
Where is
we
that
have
set? Let me see if I can
it
find
is
it.
in the default setting of Spring Boot. So you have a resource file at the
Okay.
if you go
Resource
back,
file.
yes, the resource
Resources.
here you have some properties, and by default, if you specify nothing, it will use that convention of running on the on this particular port. And of course, if you want to change that, you can.
Okay. Yeah, so 8080 that looks right actually, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
we didn't get nothing. We got actually this error page because we don't have anything set up to handle a GET request
exactly.
at the root. Okay, cool. So we're making progress here. That's good. Let's see. We are almost out of time. Are you okay to go over on this, Tine, or
No problem.
no problem? All right, thanks. We hit a couple technical difficulties, but we're into spring now, so that's cool. What's happening, by the way, behind the scenes? Is there like a Tomcat server being set up to run the web
Yes,
server?
yes.
Okay.
So exactly, you can actually see it in the logs. When he logged, he had said that Tomcat has started, and he used Tomcat as default to run the application. And as we chose at the beginning to generate a project with web dependency, that's why we have this Tomcat embedded that you can
Got
use
it.
to like serve the application.
Oh, very neat. Very neat. So
Yes,
by bringing that in, we have the Tomcat being served at that level, and we're
exactly.
yeah. So there's like a is there like a war file that would actually be created that we would it's taking and putting onto that Tomcat? Uh
Well, by default,
oh, are we losing you
uh,
again?
yes. Sorry, you are breaking a little bit. So you have
Okay.
actually the choice. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me, but I can hear you kind of.
Yeah, I could hear you now
Yeah.
fine.
So by default, I don't know if you recall, but when we were generating the project, we have the
Mhm.
option to choose the packaging. So by default, it's a jar file. So
I see. Okay.
sorry. Yeah, I was saying that by default you have the opportunity to like package the application as a jar file, but you
Hmm.
can also choose the default WAR if you want to. But it's now recommended to use the jar because the jar contains everything that you need, including the Tomcat that will be inside your jar. So you don't need to
Oh, neat.
have anything else installed. The jar itself, let's say, sufficient to have the application running.
Makes sense. Okay. Well, maybe I'm showing my age then from when I was working with
Yes.
Java and stuff like that. But yeah, okay, cool. So we've got our
It,
application
it, it
here.
has evolved since you did the Java development, so now
Yeah, well,
it's
when
more
I
more
when I
friendly.
left, I remember there's like all kinds of weird stuff going on because we weren't sure what was going to happen to the standard. Like what was going to happen. I forget what version it was. Maybe it was like Java 15 or it was like we didn't know if like it was going to go to OpenJDK or if there was going to be another like standard that would be like it was just kind of up in the air. So I don't know if that got resolved or if that makes sense or not. But yeah, that's that's what I recall from what when I had been working in there. So yeah. Are you still with us, Teen?
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, it's breaking from time to time, so I didn't hear
Yeah,
everything you said,
that's all
but I
right.
heard of something about OpenJDK at the end.
Yeah, I just when I was leaving, I remember there being some weird. We didn't know what was going to happen to the standard, like if it was going to go to OpenJDK or if there was going to be. I forget what company had held the standard before, but they weren't going to do another one. Was what I recall. I don't know if that's does that make sense or no, or are we having more technical difficulties?
Um, yeah, I didn't hear everything you said, but
Ah, shoot.
I mean before Java used to be run by a company called Sun,
Yeah.
and it's been bought by another one that it is Oracle now.
Hmm.
And yeah, at the time there were some issues about the licensing of Java with the OpenJDK and to have the commercial support of the Java ecosystem. But this is no longer an issue because most people use like OpenJDK to run the Java applications. So this is not a problem anymore.
Very
And
cool.
besides, there are also other providers out there as well, like Amazon, which is also doing his own implementation of the
Oh.
Java virtual machine. So it's no longer an issue.
Oh, that's very cool. Very cool. Well, I didn't know. But yeah,
Yeah.
we've got our Spring application now. How do we make this into a RESTful API? Oh no, this might be difficult. Uh, can you hear me? Give me a
Yes.
thumbs up if you
So
can
we
hear me.
need to create what we call a controller, a REST controller,
Right.
and it is in this file that you will define the different endpoints that you want to expose for your
Okay.
web application.
Sounds good. So, do I just create that inside of here, inside of this directory, a controller? Let's do that. Maybe call it a to do controller Java file and public record. Does this need to be a class, I believe, or I don't know. Uh, let's see. Are you there, Teen? Are you still having problems? Let's see. If not, I think yeah, I'll give Teen a little bit to catch up. If not, I can start going into implementing this as best I can. But yeah, we'll see. See if Teen's able to.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the beginning. He was breaking again.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think we're just having a lot of technical difficulties here. Can you hear me now? No. Uh,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, now I can.
Okay, good. I'm just checking all my connections, making sure everything's all right. But yeah. So we've got a to do controller here. Do we want to use
Yes.
like how do we set this up?
Yeah, so you have to annotate your class with what we call an annotation that will say that you want to define some REST endpoints. So the
Hmm.
annotation is called REST controller.
Cool. And to do this, uh,
Yes.
we would want to do like I guess if it's, let's maybe start with getting our list of to dos. So for that, would
Hmm.
we create a method inside of here that's called like get to dos, and this would have like would it be like a git mapping? I would think.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it importing this stuff for me? Yeah, it's importing that stuff for me. Very cool.
Yeah.
Get to dos and uh, do we? So
You actually have a typo in the class name. You have to remove the bracket after
oh
the to do controller.
oh I see. I
Sorry,
that
the
is totally a
parentheses. Yeah.
JavaScript thing. Sorry. Yeah, or maybe not even. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. But yeah, there we go. That looks good.
Here you have
And
to specify the actual paths that will match this route, kind of.
gotcha.
And
Let
I
me
think it's a
jump
required
to
parameter.
the JavaScript code we have. So this is actually where we get these. So actually, it looks like the GET request. I can maybe update all the ports to 8080. Let's just do that real quick.
Y-
Inside of our JavaScript code, this is to make sure the connection works good between them. So we'll do 8080. And then it looks like what I have working right now is to get to dos, we actually just hit the base. Uh,
Yes.
is that going to be a problem, or can we just
No,
do?
you can define I mean, the default route. So it will just serve this. I mean, you can just put in a slash and it will serve this default route as being the one that will provide all the to-dos.
Gotcha, just like this.
Yes.
Cool. And then for get to dos, normally I would do something like this, and that would return something like a to do array, right? But for Java, I think we've got to actually define it by putting the type it returns in front of the method name, right?
Yes, exactly.
And that's you don't do a list, or you don't do an array. You call it a list, right? And you
You could do
call.
both, actually. You have both
Oh,
type.
okay.
You use a list or an array, but a list is more like easier to use when you want to return a collection of data.
Okay. So would it just be a list of objects for now, or do we need to create some sort of entity to go in here?
Yeah, it's best to have a class, a dedicated class, because an object is like the default class and it can contain anything and everything. So it's best to have like a proper model class to represent this to do.
Should I call it just to do, or should I call it like to do model? Java.
As you wish to do. I think to do, yeah, is no, both are fine.
Okay.
I try to use the simplest name possible most of the time.
Gotcha. So I've got my to do, and here we'd have like a private ID. We'll make
Hmm.
that. Do you put the type in front? Is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
And we'll do like another private string, and this will be like the description. Description. Is that what I called it actually? Let me check it across the our models TS file. So yeah, this is, let me drop
title.
this in as a comment. This is our TypeScript interface. So we actually don't want to call it description. Let's call it title. And let's give a private Boolean completed, right? That looks like it matches up. And now we need to do like getters. Is there a way I could do like create getters? No.
On VS Code, I don't know if you were using like IntelliJ, there is like an helper to generate those.
Right.
But yeah, I don't a way of doing this in VS Code. There may be a way, but I never use VS Code for Java development. So
Gotcha. All
yeah.
right. Well, I guess we could do some getters for this real quick. Just go
Mm-hmm.
public string get ID. Nope, not that kind of bracket. And we could say return this dot ID, right? And then copy, paste. We'll say get title, uh, title. I'm just doing this out of instinct from having worked with Java. I'm assuming we're going to need some getters like this, right?
Yes,
Or
yes, because
okay,
by default, if you put private inside your fields, they are not accessible from the outside. So if you once you are in another class, you need to a way to access those fields. That's why you need the getters and setters.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. So there's that, and we're going to want to, I think, set a void method called toggle because we want to like expose the completed, whether it is completed or
Mm-hmm.
not. But we'll also want to be able to toggle this on or off. But the ID and the title, I don't think we'll want to change for now. So we'll say public void toggle, and we'll just say this dot completed equals not this dot completed. I think that looks right. That'll
Yeah.
toggle it.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Now, do we need a constructor here as well?
You don't need it per se because by default you will have the default constructor that will be available. But
Mm-hmm.
if you want, for example, to create the to-dos by providing the list of parameters right away, then you will need to have define a constructor. But by default,
Gotcha.
you don't have to.
I think we might want to. Let's do like a public constructor. I think this is the right way to do it, right? Where I'll just get like a title because that's what I'm doing inside of the create endpoint. If we look at the excuse me, if we look at the main TS file,
Mm-hmm.
inside of create, the only thing we expect from our request body is a title. So let's make a constructor that just works off of the title, and we can
Mm-hmm.
say this dot ID equals. We'll just put an empty string for now. This dot title equals the title parameter coming from right there. And then this dot completed will start it out always false. So as soon as it's created, we're going to assume that it's not completed yet. So with this, what I had done when I was looking at this was I actually had this as a private static counter, and that would be a way of just getting us a simple ID,
Okay.
which kind of mirrors what we did here, if that makes sense.
Well, in your case, I don't think you will need that because that will be the role of the database layer. It's the one that will actually update the ID, and you don't have to manage it in this class because it's simply here a simple plain old object to contain the information, but you
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't have any logic like that inside
Oh, I
this to
see.
do file.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so should I leave? Well, I'll still need to create an ID
You still
somehow.
need to have an ID field, but it
Right.
will be created for you by the framework actually, by
Okay.
the data persistence layer.
So we'd actually want to say, give me a string ID when we create it, and we is this what you're thinking?
No, not at
No.
all. Actually, I mean, you could do that, but if you only keep the title as the field that you want to set when you create the object,
Mm-hmm.
it will be the role of the database layer to actually generate an ID for you and set
Okay.
it on this object. So you
Gotcha.
also need to. That's why you also need to add setters on top of the getter that you just created,
Oh, I
so
see.
that the database layer can like set the ID for you once you have created it.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So we should actually get rid of this constructor and instead add our setters for
Yes,
this.
setter
Okay,
and
let's do
getters.
that. Do we need toggle still then, or can we get rid of it?
You can keep it. I mean,
Okay,
it's that simple, so you can keep it.
gotcha. So we'll say public void set ID. And this will take a string, string ID, and that will just say this dot ID equals the ID parameter. Is that we're looking right here?
Yes, that's
Cool.
good.
We'll do the same for title.
Yep.
Um, title, and we'll do. Oh, missed that. And then we'll do a one down here for completed. Completed. Boolean. Completed. This dot completed equals completed. All right. Are we good?
Yes.
We've got
Almost.
our. Okay, what's
You
next?
also need to, because here you are just defining a simple like Java object that will contain your information,
Right.
but this object is the one that will also be persisted back to the database. So to do that, you need to add some annotation in order for the framework that handles the persistence to know that this is something that we call an entity that will actually be persisted back to the database and retrieved from the database.
Gotcha. So the entity
Yes.
annotation. I guess this looks like a decorator to me as a TypeScript person, but
Yeah, it's the equivalent of a decorator in TypeScript world.
gotcha. So
Yeah,
that is modifying this, and
exactly. And
very cool. Okay.
for information, you can here specify because this will actually do a mapping between this class and the table in SQL or in
Oh,
the
neat.
data set that you will create, that you will use. And you can even specify the name of this table if you want to. By default, it will like infer the name based on the class name, but
Mm-hmm.
you can like change that information if you want to.
Awesome. Very
Yeah.
cool. All
And
right.
you need one last thing. You need to define the ID field as being an actual ID in terms of persistence.
And
So you
that's
have
just
to
a
annotate it
annotation on this property here, right?
exactly at ID so
So
that he knows that this one will be the actual ID
right.
of the field.
It looks like they're coming from the Jakarta persistence package. Is that
Yes,
okay?
yes.
Cool.
Jakarta is the new main package that contain every the API to do persistence in Java. It used to
Gotcha.
be Javax, and now it's Jakarta.
Cool. All right. So our to do entity, are we all set?
I think yeah, we are set.
Okay. So maybe jumping back to the container, now we can use this to do class inside of our list that we're going to return inside of this Git mapping, right?
Yes,
All
you
right.
could, but you will also need to now define the actual repository that will fetch this information from the
Right.
database and persist it back to the database as well.
Right. So let's add this at least. List do I need to import list? Okay, that's a Java
Yes,
util thing. Cool.
yes.
Okay, so we're getting a failure here because we're not returning the type we said it would, but
Mhm.
that's because we need a repository in order to get those out. Now, there's some sort of dependency injection that's going to happen here, I imagine, to get the repository into the controller. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Do we need to start by making the repository first?
Yes, you will need this repository here, so you have to create it as a separate file.
Okay.
Most of the time we call it something repository, so to the repository.
So to do repository is fine for now?
Yes, it's good.
Okay. There we go.
And this will be actually an interface that will
Okay.
extend some stuff that comes from Spring Data GPA, which is the framework that we defined earlier when we were defining the dependencies when we generate the project, the GPA dependency. So that will
Hmm.
bring in return the Spring Data GPA, so that you can like query or perform some action back to the database using the Spring some Spring interfaces.
Gotcha. So what's the name of the interface to extend here? Am I
I
doing it
think
wrong?
it's GPA repository, which is
G-
the
okay, there it is.
yeah, and
There's implementation here as well. I guess that's the class, not the interface. We want to extend the interface, correct?
yes, that's it. But you have to specify some information here because this is like a generic interface,
Okay.
and you have to specify what
I'm
you
guessing the
actually
to do class, right?
exactly
Got it.
yes,
Okay.
what you're actually persisting back to the database or retrieving from database. That, and you also have to specify the type of the actual ID that will
Okay.
be used to identify your to-do objects in the database.
So when we did that, our ID is a string. So we just
Yes,
do inside of here a to do. So this is a repository of to dos that's
yes,
indexed by string identifiers.
exactly.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that it? Is that all we got to do? Or
Yes, by default with that method, you will have some default CRUD operation available that will come
Mhm.
from the GPA repository interface, and that are implemented by Spring Data. So unless you need to like define another query or another way to interact with the database, with just that, you have everything that you need to do basic CRUD. So
this is
you're good to go.
sufficient. Yeah.
Yep.
This is what I was talking about when it feels like I feel more like I'm configuring than writing code because I just like implemented this repository and told it like here, take this
Yeah.
class and it's a string. Like go do it.
This is the
That
magic
was it.
of Spring Boot. It saves time like that. You have
Yeah,
to only
exactly.
focus on the actual value that you want to bring in, but not in this boring stuff that
Yeah.
we used to do over again. So
Yeah, yeah. Makes sense. All right,
mm,
so coming back to our controller now, we need to inject that repository somehow into this class.
yes, in the class, yeah.
Is that do you use like a constructor or I don't know, tell me what to do here
Well,
to
you
inject
have
it.
different way actually to inject the repository that you just created.
Hmm.
You could like auto-wire it inside the class. So there is an annotation that is called at auto-wired, where you simply define. No, it's inside the class. It will be actually a field
Oh, okay.
of your
So it
class.
would be like a private repository
Yes, with the type that you just
uh
created before.
repository like that
Yes,
and you're saying we could just do like a auto wired?
auto-wired.
Oh,
So
neat.
this Spring will actually automatically detect that this is the dependency of your class, and it will inject it inside the class for you.
Gotcha. So it's telling us it's not used right now,
Yep.
but now we can do inside of here, I'm guessing this repository dot, and then is there like a get all?
There
I
is a
hope.
find all. Yeah.
Find all. Perfect.
Yes.
And that it just happens to we return that, and that'll be a list of to-dos, right?
Yes.
Hey. Very neat. All right, let's see. So our serve. Well, is our serve going to watch these changes that we've been making? I'm guessing not, because it should have been like
uh,
erroring all the way through if it
yeah,
was
by
updating
default,
on save.
no, but there is actually a kind of live reload plugin that exists for Spring Boot. It's called the Dev Tool, I think,
Okay.
and but we haven't installed it at the beginning, so it won't work if right now. You have to install
All
it
right.
as a dependency so that it works.
That's all right. So we'll need to restart the serve though in order to restart our Tomcat. Or
Yes.
to restart the web server to see this working. Let's see if we can do that, and see if we can at least see in the web app now. I believe localhost is still going. Oh, maybe not because we're in this dev thing. Let me make another. I guess let's wait for this to finish, and then I'll make a new terminal, and that'll serve the front end app.
Hmm.
Um, it's going to be weird to see how that's going because I think that's still running on inside of that other terminal that maybe got orphaned when we went to a dev container because I don't know what happened to the other window.
Ah.
Uh, so that'll be interesting. But
If it's still running, you will have an error at the runtime with the new one because it will not it won't be able to bind to the existing port.
right, exactly.
And apparently,
Um,
it's not the case here, so we're
yeah,
fine.
so we're started, and now I guess if I hit 8080 with a GET request, there we go. That's
Yes.
our empty list actually. Let
Mm.
me see. I'll create that new one here, and we'll do npx nx serve. What was the name of the app? I forget. It was it just to do? Yeah, it was just to do. So we'll call to do. This is the React to do application, and I guess it's taking a bit longer because we're inside of that dev container. It must be doing some sort of port forwarding, I guess,
Yeah.
in order to make this work for my local host. It is interesting whatever's going on here. Oh no, they're also what's going on here? Installed ES build than the one you're currently using. Oh no. Uh Yeah, that may be an issue. Let's let me do this. Let's
We did
cancel
have
this.
remove Dino earlier, so
Oh, do we need to like do another yarn, you think? I
uh,
don't know. Failed to learn config from Dino to do. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Oh yeah, we'll need to I guess we'll need to remove that other one. Let's try that real quick. If not, we just go back to the API and imagine it worked. But let's try nxg at narwhal workspace remove, and we'll remove the Dino API. What's the name of the project I want to say? Or Dino to do? Um, oh no, that actually is not. Huh. That won't help. I didn't notice. I thought this was the name of the application here. So this is actually workspaces to do Dino to do. This is the name of whatever remote container we're on. This is the
okay.
name of our root, right?
Yes, yes.
So, ooh, interesting. I don't know. Let me try. If I just open a terminal, I bet I could CD into our project and serve it from there. Let me try if that works. So we'll go to CD Dino to do, and we'll say npx nx serve to do. Yeah, and that worked
Mm.
real easy. Let's jump into that and make sure if we do that, let's make sure there's just no errors here inside of the application. I see some. Oh no. Sources. I don't want sources. I want the console. We're hit it by cores policy. Is there a way? Do we need to add like an options to our controller, or is there a way to just add cores support?
Yes, there is a way to define the core settings. I don't recall that how you do that again. Mm,
Do we Google it? Here.
yeah, I think it will be faster.
Okay, let's
Because
cores reboot.
the Dino application is on which port again?
Dino application. Well, this is our React application, right? And it's going on. Right now, it's running on 4201. I could
Okay.
actually do a proxy here.
Yeah.
That may be preferable to actually adding in cores, because we probably wouldn't want that in the actual one. Um, so yeah, why do I try to set that up? So we can go into our React application, into the to do, and I believe it's inside of the vite config, inside of server. We can do something with a proxy. Is there a proxy on here? Let me look at vite real quick. Vite configure proxy server options. This looks right. Proxy server.proxy. Yeah, there we go. So server proxy, and then we just pass, I guess it's the root. We could put that through to 8080. That might actually cause a problem. So I think we'll do a quick change on that. So we'll host the API at to-dos, and we'll look for it at to-dos inside of the API client. So what did we call this? Server proxy, and here we'll have slash to do. We'll call it to dos, and I will send that to HTTP. It's not HTTPS, right? It's just HTTP
Yeah, it's localhost.
localhost
So
8080.
yeah.
I think that will forward it to dos. So let me go to the API client. We'll just switch all of these up here. So I'll grab all of these, and we'll put like a to-dos in front of it. And then if we go over to the controller class, the to-do controller, I think we just need to update the Git mapping in here to be to-dos like that. Is there a way to do it at the REST controller level up here so it
Yes,
automatically
yes, you
makes
can.
one?
Actually, that's it will afterwards append the rest in the each individual mapping.
Gotcha. So I could do
Yeah.
like this, and then we can make this just like so again. Is that
Yes.
right? Cool.
Mm.
All right, let's see if that works. So I can't serve my AP I can't serve my the web app inside of this dev container. It looks like, but let's go ahead and restart the back end. We've got this terminal. Uh, I may need to restart that serve actually the web server because I changed the proxy config.
Mm.
So we'll see if that works. Oh man, we're stitching things together, but it'll work, Tine. I have faith.
Let's have faith.
Blind faith, a fool's faith. It's all right. Here we go. Starting it up down there. Hibernate ORM. Interesting. And my dog's going crazy. If y'all can hear him, I'm so sorry. He does that sometimes. All right, started. There's the Tomcat on 8080. So let's go to localhost 4200. 200. Looks like
So
we didn't. The proxy didn't catch.
there
Oh,
was a
I know why.
yeah,
Sorry, what were you gonna say?
there was a slash at the end, right? In the no, in the other in the code.
In which file? The
Here, yeah. I mean the get mapping. I don't know if you eat the to-dos with the slash at the end in your React code or the front-end code.
yeah. It looks like I don't actually. Yeah. So
Yeah,
do we need to remove it from the controller?
probably.
I know what else is wrong here too. Just so you know, so we can remove that. So it's just a git mapping of string. But the other thing is, if we look at my API client, I'm actually still trying to hit localhost 8080. What I need
Yes.
to do is actually try to hit 4200, and the proxy will
Ah,
redirect
yeah.
me.
Indeed, we changed that at the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. I think this will work now. That shouldn't need a refresh aside from on the browser. Uh,
And we have some
we have an issue. All right, what's going on
to-do
here?
list. Yeah.
Well, let's take a look. What's going on at the network level first? So 500. Okay.
This is the backend error.
Yes. What happened?
We have to look at the logs.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Uh,
No adapter handler. Oh, did we just set this up in a way that the controller is registered for the API for the Spring Boot project?
Normally it should be already registered. Yeah, go up a little bit because most of the time there is a more comprehensive error.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. Okay, this is where we started.
Yes.
Dispatcher
Adapter.
servlet.
The special to include we do have one. I don't understand. It looks like it didn't find the REST controller that we defined, but we do have the right annotation on it as well. I'm checking
Let's
that.
make sure.
Yeah.
Controller, Java, REST controller, to dos. Yeah. If we look at this, is there anything we need to do to bind it over here?
I don't think so, because by default it should understand that this is like a web application, and you shouldn't have anything else to define really, because
Gotcha.
we have everything. What can be missing here? Let me check. Yeah, we have the REST controller, the mapping. I don't see.
One thing, so I'm looking at what I had done. I had in my when I was labbing this out, I had a
Mhm.
way of like loading the database. So creating a way of, I guess, populating our repository at the start.
Yes.
And so that was a way of, I guess, just adding a couple of to-dos inside of the repository initially. Do we have to do something like that?
No, no, no.
Okay.
This hasn't. This has nothing to do with the actual error. The actual error is it looks like it cannot even bind to the to do controller that we have defined,
Oh, I see.
and that
Oh,
is
I
weird.
wonder, Tine, I wonder. So we were working before. It has to do something with the with this change, I imagine, that we moved this actually up to the REST controller. Can I see what
Uh,
will happen if we do it, if we move it down here?
yes. Ah, yeah. We haven't restarted the server when you do that. When you did
Oh,
that,
is that what we need to do maybe?
but
So
I think so because it's yeah. Um,
so you want to restart the server like this?
you need to do so because there is no live load. So if you change the like the configuration like this, you
Yeah.
need to restart basically the server.
All right. So we'll restart the server. We'll try to get the localhost 8080 slash to dos first and make
Mhm.
sure that's working, and then we'll try to hit it from the web app, and that should give us what we need, I think. And then it should be pretty trivial to get the rest of those methods in, I think, for the other ones. So we just need to do like a couple post mappings and then a delete mapping probably.
Yes, yes.
So we're on a good track. Speaking of being on a good track, Stream Overlay Pro, what's up, sir? Glad to have you joining on. How do we work with Spring Boot with NX? Do you need a generator inside of Monroe? Yes, we did
Yeah,
that. We
you
did
need the
that. We're
plugin to do
working with
that.
it. Yeah, yeah. You can check out the recording for it. But what we've gone and done is we've created the application here inside of our monorepo. It's alongside the Dino one we did last week, actually. But that was causing some issues. But I think we're almost ready. Started the application. Let's try. So if we hit 8080 now, we get that. That's good because this should be on to dos. If we hit that, oh no,
So
uh,
we still have a mapping error.
mapping error.
Wait, no, it was a 404. So mm, mm,
Was it a 404? Yeah. Just getting regular to dos without the backslash actually is giving us that 500 again.
yeah.
I think it has something to do with the change we had here because this was working before. Could I try moving that just down here and getting rid of this altogether?
Yeah, you could, even if it should work with that one as well.
Yeah, I'm wondering if because that's the only change I think that we've actually done that could have caused it to break. I think
Mm.
so. We'll take a look. It's unfortunate that there's such a long cycle time with this. Maybe it's because we're on the dev container. It was not going this slow when I was doing it locally.
Yeah,
Uh,
this is the drawback of having the everything running inside of the container. You need to have
yeah.
like a super power charge machine so that you
Hmm.
don't feel the slowness that this implies.
Right. Oh, excuse me. All right, that started it up. Let's try getting it again. Yeah, it's good. It's got to be something with that. I wonder if it's like maybe the backslash. It did it like the backslash, or
Yes. Yeah, actually, yes. Because when you define it at the root level, like this, it will append this with the rest of the root. So if you put like a slash at the end and you also put a slash in the get mapping, you will have like double slash. I think that was the issue.
gotcha. Okay, maybe that was it. Mike Schilling says perhaps try at request mapping. What's uh
Yeah, it's basically the same thing as get mapping. It's just that with request mapping, you have to also define the method, the HTTP method.
yes.
So get
Okay, that
mapping
makes
is like
sense.
an alias to have both the request mapping and define that it is an HTTP get.
It's an
So
HTTP good. Got it.
this is good.
Okay,
This is good.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So we've got that down. I think we just need like one
Foot
more.
mapping, for
Yeah,
example.
that was a git mapping. We'll need a post for create, a post for toggle, and
Hmm.
then a delete. Let's maybe start with create.
Yes.
And I guess, are we going to need to make a class for what that request body is going to look like?
You could, or you could also have the field that you need as the parameters. It's as you want actually. If
Mm-hmm.
you think that you will have a lot of input data, like many things to set in one go, you can create a class that will be the request body kind of.
Yeah. Well, if I look at the if I go to the API client code, so this is a JavaScript code I've done to request these things. I
Hmm.
kind of want to not touch this if we can, and that's
Okay.
we could have just had the title be like slash title over here,
Hmm.
uh, but I've got it right now as coming in through the body. So let's just let's just recreate that inside of our Java application. I think so. Maybe I'll do a new file here, and then we'll call
Yes.
this a to do create request body. Is that what you
Yeah.
would call it?
I will call it to do create request DTO because
DTO. Okay.
it's like data transfer object. But I mean, both name are fine.
Is it DTO or DTO?
Yeah, it depends on people.
Okay, I'll
I
do it
try to
this way.
use, yeah, it's a matter of taste in the end.
All right, so this needs a private string, which was the title,
Hmm.
and then we'll need to get a string or public string get title, and that will return the title, right? Um, does that look right? I think so.
Yes, that's what you need. All
Okay.
you need.
So now going into the controller, we can come in here and we can say post mapping,
Yes.
and we'll say slash to dos slash create. And now, in terms of what we want to return, we want to
You have to use
return.
like the double quote here.
Oh, sorry.
It's not JavaScript. Sorry.
JavaScript problems coming back. So we'll call this create to do, and this. I actually don't know. How do we get the? Do we pass it as a parameter to this method and add an annotation to that?
Yes, that's
To
exactly. You can like define it as the request, I mean the create request DTO, and
okay,
if you prepend it with the add request body, so the framework will automatically translate this into from the JSON object that comes in. It will translate it into the actual DTO that you have created. So you can use it
gotcha.
like in your code simply.
Oh,
And again, you have to put the type first
sorry.
in Java.
Yeah, I'm all turned around. But okay. So now,
On
so
top,
we do
yeah,
need an annotation in
here
front.
before the type, you have to specify the annotation.
Okay, and that needs to be. Is that just
At
like a
request body, that's the name.
perfect? Cool. And now we need to do some way of adding, creating a new to do and adding it to the repository now, right?
Exactly.
How do we do that? Do we do this dot repository dot? Is there like an add?
There is a save by default.
Save. Okay.
Yes. And you pass in the to-do that you want to actually save or update. In this case, will be a save, so we create the to-do inside the database.
Okay. So I don't have a to do yet. I have the request DTO. How do I go
Yes.
from this to a to do?
So
I
you
think when
could,
I was labbing it out, I made a method on the DTO, but that's probably not the right way to do it. I'm guessing.
yeah, ideally you will have like a service that will take this DTO that comes from the client and that will in return return a DTO, I mean a to-do object that is ready for being persisted in the database.
Right.
But here in this simple case, we can just create a new to-do and set the title field
Okay.
right away in the same class. But you have to actually create the to-do object first so that you can, because you have to set some properties on this to do.
Cool.
Equal new to do. Yeah.
to do, and so how do I fill this out?
Well, here we don't have a constructor that takes in the title, so you have to like stop here and set the title afterwards, for example.
Gotcha. New to do
Set
dot
title
set
and
title. Got it. So this is body dot title.
yep.
Get title. Right. Oh, look at
And
all those parens. That's beautiful.
yeah, but you actually it's your fault. You have to remove the extra around the body get title. You
Oh
don't need
yeah.
those two. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that is me.
Yeah.
Fair point. Okay, and now
So
we've saved it, and
this
now we can
method
just.
returns. You can directly return the result of the save method. You
Oh,
actually
cool. Perfect.
return the to do, and in this to do, the title. I mean, the ID will be set for you by the framework.
Okay. And so I'm guaranteed to get a unique ID for this because of the entity annotation we
Exactly,
added.
and the
Okay.
fact that we have specified that the ID is actually the ID of the entity.
Got it. Oh,
And
that's neat.
if you were to like create with an existing ID, we'll have updated this existing to do.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Mm.
Cool. I think that works. Let's try. Well, I guess we got to restart the server. Let's try
Yes.
to do the rest of the post mappings before we restart the server, because that
Mhm.
might take a little bit. So we'll add another. Let me just do like the same thing, but we'll call it toggle. And these ones, I think, we'll take a look at the main TS file. So looking at our JavaScript code. This actually just takes a same idea. It's like a silly little body with just the ID. I think that's
Okay.
actually identical to the shape of our to do or delete. It's just we could create maybe a DTO for that inside of our Java. Does that sound good?
Yes.
So we'll say to do ID DTO dot Java. Simple little thing here to do ID DTO ID. Oh shoot.
Well,
Sorry.
just a question. In
Yeah.
your class, do you intend to pass in other information along with the ID?
No. So when maybe going to the application here, like when
Mm-hmm.
we hit add, this should it won't work because we haven't restarted it. So this would just send that over, and then if we toggled it, it should just send the ID as a body over
Okay. Okay.
when we do a post. And then when we do a delete, it should be the same thing. It's just the ID is inside of the deletes the delete requests body, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Okay.
So I think this makes sense. We'll go ahead and say here's a public string get ID, and that will return this .id. Return this .id. There we go. And now inside of our controller, we can say toggle was the name, and the to do ID DTO is our game. So call that body. And then in here, we'll actually want to first get to
The
do
existing to do.
to
Yeah.
toggle. Yeah, we just pulled that out of the repository, I'm guessing, right? This
Yes.
dot repository dot find. Is it
Find
just
by
find?
ID. You have
Find
a
by
find by
ID.
ID.
Perfect. That's
I
beautiful.
think you also have a find, a simple find, but the find by ID will return you an optional of the actual data, so that if data is not present, with the optional, it's a wrapper around the actual data, and you have
Mhm.
like nice stuff to avoid to have some exception if you try to access this uh, and the data actually doesn't exist in the database.
Gotcha.
So the title of the return object is not to do anymore. It's an optional of to do in this case.
Oh, I see. How do I say optional here? Oh,
Uh,
I think I actually is there a method on here to like or else throw? Yeah.
yes,
Should we use this?
you could, but it's even better to like return this optional right away, because if it's
Okay.
not found, you would have like a 404 exception error, and so you don't have to like define the response body in this case, for example.
Oh, neat. So Should this actually return an optional of to do inside of line 31?
If you do that, yeah, if you do that, this will allow the Spring framework to set some headers on your request, and especially if the optional is actually empty, it will like put a 404 because you will not
Oh.
have find the information.
Oh,
But
that's neat.
in this case, I don't think that we should do that because
Okay.
we want to update something that is existing. So if it doesn't find this, you have to actually throw an error. So this is the best approach here. It's better to throw an error than to return the to do. It would
That
have
makes
be
sense.
best to do that if you were just doing a find by ID,
Right.
that you can have return the optional right away.
Gotcha. So so now that I have an optional of my to do, should I do a
Yes.
check here to see if it exists?
Well, if you the X optional is also, I mean, is already filled in with the information if it is available. So if you try to get something, you will have a new exception if it doesn't exist. But then you can like get or throw the method that you just saw when you were typing in, and you can decide to throw an exception earlier if you didn't find the supposed to be existing to do.
Oh,
So
okay. So
it's
I'm sorry. Should in terms of what I should type here, should I start like a try block then?
You don't have to, because for me, if you don't find the to do, it's best to at this stage to throw the exception right away, because it makes no sense to try to toggle something that does not exist, and it will be
Gotcha.
up to the framework to respond back this error to the user, because he has actually made the bad request, kind of.
Okay. So how
Yeah.
do I do that actually in Java?
So
What should I type here?
you just you start with the to do I mean to toggle, and
Uh-huh.
from there you have access to the other method of the optional. So there is a get or throw.
Uh get or what's the name of the method?
I think it is get, to get the actual data of the yes, that's method, yeah. So
Okay.
we actually retrieve the to do that is present in the optional.
Okay. So that will be so this will say to
This will be the
do
actual to do, yeah.
to toggle. I guess so they'll call this maybe optional. Yeah. And then we'll say optional. Uh, Am I doing that right? Uh
Yes.
cool. And so this get will throw itself if we can't actually get it. Is that
Well,
right?
actually, no. This will not. This will return null if the to do is not available. What you should do is to use you have other like method that you can use on an optional, and there is another one that can throw if it doesn't find the actual data that you try to get. I think the name is something like. Can you type in again in the from the optional if you try to? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
like or else throw.
yes, it is this one.
Okay.
And here
So okay.
you can specify like an exception that should be thrown if it doesn't find the actual data.
Okay. Should we make something for that? Should we like make a new
Uh,
class
I
or
think by
should we
default
just
yeah, by default is already throwing something, so you don't have
Okay.
to do it per se. But if you want to customize the kind of exception that is thrown, you can like
Mhm.
define this exception.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So
Yeah.
we could put some new exception in here if we wanted to make our
For
own one
example,
specifically.
specifying what is the actual problem, for example.
Yeah, okay. That's very cool. All right. But now that we've gotten here, I guess we could just say to toggle and then we
Yes.
could have that toggle method still. So we should just be able to do that.
Hmm.
And then so that's mutably changing this object. But I'm guessing the repository has some idea of immutability in there. So I think we'd have to do like this repository.save with the new
Yes.
one. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Save to toggle. And then we could return that again because that should give us the to do we want to return back to the user
Exactly.
when it's all done.
And we have
Cool.
updated the field.
Oh, we're we're cooking with grease now. All right. So last up, I think we need a delete mapping right here.
Yes.
Mapping. I'm guessing that's going to be the same. Did that get imported already? I don't see it.
I think he was imported because I don't see any error.
Okay. Well, works for me. I think this was just at the base. So we'll say to dos. It actually does have the same exact body as the one we created last time. So we'll just
Okay.
say like this, and instead of to toggle here, I think we could just say this dot repository dot. Is there delete? Remove? Do I have an error
You
somewhere? Because none of
yes,
my
I think so.
IntelliSense is coming in.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
must have an error. Um,
If you over the delete mapping, do you have like the tooltip or something?
let's see. Yes, have that.
Yeah, for this one, but not for
Don't
the.
have it here. Oh, what's
Yeah.
going on?
Can you check the list of imports again on the top of the file?
Oh, is this the error? Annotation indicating a method parameter.
No, no, that's okay.
Okay, duplicate method create to do. Oh,
Ah, you have the same name.
Dodoi. Okay, so this was toggle.
Yeah.
That's all we needed to do. Okay, and same over here. So we need to call this just delete, I guess.
And I think you need to like now import the delete mapping
Yeah.
or change the name.
All right. So now we delete by ID. Yep.
Yes.
Body.get ID. Cool. And we want to return the original to do. I guess we can say here to delete.
Mm, that will not be the way that I will have done this, because once you have deleted the to do, there is no point in returning the previous one.
Oh, I see.
And also you could have like defined the ID as in a request parameter instead of having it embedded as a body of your request also. But as the endpoint is not specified like this on the front end, you will need to do that. But you could have like define to do / the ID that you want to remove, and that will also work, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. What
And
does this return? Out of curiosity, that's void. Okay.
yeah, because if there is no point in returning the previous value.
I
So
wonder, could we do something like this? New to do and pass in the to delete. Do you see what I'm trying to do here?
so you're trying to fetch the previous one then?
Yeah, I wanted to. I guess I just wanted to return it, a copy of the
But
old one that was deleted, because that's
you
what
already
our.
have it. It's the one that you have called to delete. Sorry,
Oh,
this
okay.
this is the previous one.
I see. So we could do that. Now, can we return that to delete? There. That satisfies everything, but
Yeah.
is that I guess I'm interested in how the memory is going to work for here, because this going to actually, like, is this object going to get garbage collected like this same one? Is that going to be get garbage collected when we call delete by ID since it's in memory, or
At this stage, I mean, the to-do object that you have created in the class is in memory. It's in the scope of the method, but the
okay,
actual information that is in the database will be removed from the database. So
okay,
it's not totally linked. If it was persisted in like not in an in-memory database, but an actual database, it will have removed this entry from the tables. But
gotcha,
here, the only memory thing is the to-do object that you have created here. But at the end of the call, it's out of scope, so it's removed from the application memory.
gotcha. So you think this is okay then?
I would not have returned anything, because again, when you delete, you don't have to return anything because
Yeah.
it no longer exists. But
Unfortunately,
as
my front end
yeah,
application is expecting it to come back, so
that's why
that
we
sucks. But
yeah.
that's why
So
I need to do it.
given that the front end is implemented that way, we have to then return it as well.
Okay, let's. I think that's everything. Should we go ahead and restart it, and
Yes.
we can see. I wish I had done like a playwright test so we could just like boom, hit all the test cases. But we got a question here. Has anyone experienced in bundling a web project sitting in that repo to into the war of the Spring Boot application? So I found out today you don't do wars anymore. Tine taught me this. You do
Well,
jars.
you still have the ability to do wars, but with
Okay.
Spring Boot, using the jar packaging is more convenient to say, because you have everything installed inside the jar. You don't have to actually deploy this war
Yeah.
inside any Tomcat or JTI or any other web application server. So,
Yeah, but I think the question is, so like right now, I actually have two different web servers going,
mhm.
which I think is at the heart of this question, because I have the one web server that's going out and serving my front end application. Actually, I have a second web server right now, completely separated, that's hosting my API. I think
Mhm.
what they're asking is, how do we like take that React application and
Ah,
just
okay.
bundle it into the WAR file so we can deploy
Well,
them both at the same inside the same WAR?
yes, you could do that if you put the static file from the front end application. You can put them in the dedicated folder inside the Spring Boot application. It will
Yeah.
be located in the source main/resources, and from there you can put like a static folder and put all
Hmm.
your static data in there, and then you can have the Spring Boot application serve this static folder. So you will
Yeah.
have both the front end and the backend hosted on the same Spring Boot
Yeah, that
web
makes perfect
application.
sense.
Yeah.
So really, like when you're serving a website, you're just serving those static assets
Yes.
to a GET request. So
Hmm.
same as what we were looking at before. So we just need to run it so that, like if we look at my terminal here, where we're running the serve, I can actually like cancel this and we can run like nx build. So what we'd want to do is like run this build on our to do application. Oh, it's being weird right now because my thing's like too narrow, I guess. But now if we cat our dist the apps slash to do, or maybe let's just ls that. Um, this just created a bunch of static resources that took all of our source code for our JavaScript and put it into like this directory. So we just take this directory, like Tine said, throw it inside of our resources for Spring Boot. I guess that's right in here.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, and then it's like we just tell Spring Boot to, hey, whenever someone does a GET request to here, like just send them this, and
Well,
that should.
you still have to like
Mhm.
specify a little bit of configuration to say that Spring Boot has to serve this resource folder as being exposed to the web,
I
but
see. Okay.
it's very simple to do, and it's best to not have the file right in the at the root of the resource folder. It's better to have like another static folder, let's say, and
Hmm.
serve this static folder so that
I
you have
see.
all the resources not at the root level, but in this specific folder.
Oh,
And then
okay,
with a
cool.
specific configuration on the Spring Boot side, you can specify that Spring Boot server have to also serve those additional files.
Very cool. All right. Well, I canceled the serve, but so let's pull up the serve and let's see if that's working now because our Tomcats started back up. So we'll do serve. Fat finger that a little bit. It looks like it's okay. Let's hit it. Oh no. Okay, we got it. What do we get? An empty array. That looks great.
Yes.
Let's do a test. Create. Oh. Oh. Uh oh.
Thanks. Yes. What is
Let's
the
see.
backend error?
500 internal server error. What did we hit?
Yes.
Let's take a look.
Uh,
Uh, okay.
uh,
I ruined it. Okay. IDs for this class must be manually assigned before calling save. Ah, I thought so.
oh yeah, you have to specify the yeah. Sorry about that. You have to specify the generation mode of your actual ID,
Oh,
and
okay.
we haven't done that in the Java file.
Got
There
it.
are some additional options that you can set in here, and yeah, the I think it is the generation. I don't recall exactly the name, but you have to specify here
Is
how
it
you
like
want the
strategy? I don't know
yeah,
how.
something like that. There is no bracket, I think, but it's the generation strategy for the keys that will be used. Wait, let me just try that real quick. But
Yeah.
that's
I
the part
have
that
no
we are
idea what
missing.
the syntax should look like.
Yeah. I have to
uh,
look again. But here you have to specify basically what he can generate.
a
I
strategy.
think it is. Yeah, it's the ID generator type, something like that. Um,
Okay. Hibernate, JPA, ID. Let me say, try maybe ID annotation, strategy, uh, strategy, ID
yes,
annotation.
yeah,
This looks
the first thing.
helpful. This looks
Yeah.
promising. Let's
Um,
see. Get to some code. Generated value
yeah,
strategy
that's the
equals.
one.
Okay. Perfect.
I'm not sure that the strategy here is the right one, but yeah, this is the thing that you have specified on top of just saying that this is the ID.
Yeah. What other options do we have? So let's just
Yeah,
do sequence. That looks
yeah.
right.
It depends on your actual database because not all database supposes sequence, but
This one
you
should be
have
fine
to.
for a sequence, I think. Sequence
Um,
gets that could you could hit into trouble if like you're multi-threading this stuff, right? Because
Not exactly, but I mean, if you are targeting a database that doesn't support sequence, it will fail. So
mm-hmm.
for me, the best strategy is to use the auto one because with the auto, it will, based on the target database, it will automatically use the right strategy to generate the identifiers.
Gotcha. Cool. All right, let's see. Tomcat. I'm looking for that Spring application up. All right, let's try it again. Going back to our to-do application. Let's hit a refresh. Pending 200. All right. Let's do create. I imagine there's some delay in here just because where there's the
Yeah,
inside
I'm
of the
not sure that
container.
sequence is supported by H2, which is now the current database.
Gotcha.
I will have used auto to be safe.
Okay, let's do that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Auto. Ah, my mistake. We'll get it this time. I have faith. That's never done me wrong yet. All right. There we go. It's that Spring logo. And boom goes the dynamite. All right, let's see. Refresh. 2, 3. Oh, still 500.
Ah, so
Yeah,
what's the error this time?
I don't know, but seems like that public or private static may or private static integer didn't seem like such a bad idea anymore.
No, you don't have to. In the real world, you don't have to specify those ID that way. So,
Yeah. Okay.
wait.
Unknown integral ID for IDs.
Okay. This
It
is
doesn't
of
like it's a string, I guess, huh?
yeah. I think try using an ID. Wait.
Like a long here.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the reason why it's not working because I think in this case we might need to specify the ID ourselves because the automatic generation strategy works if, for example, it's an integer or long because you can like increment or those things like this.
Yeah.
But with a string, you have to specify the actual ID that you want to set in. So yeah,
Gotcha. All
you
right.
need
Well,
to.
maybe we can do this inside of our controller. Um, so maybe we do
We
like
can
maybe
use
I could
like
do the counter here.
It's better to use something that is like a unique. You can like use a UEID. There is a class in Java that allows you to generate like an unique
Got
number,
it. Okay.
and this number we are sure that is not. I mean, this string is not the same each time that you will hit the endpoint.
Gotcha. Okay. So to do that, this is really only an issue for create, I guess. So
Yes,
here, what would so
it's UEID. I think there is a random UEID method. the
Do
class
how
is
do how do I specify this though? Like
y-
how do I pass those
well, you will
parameters to
have
the
to use the
constructor?
setter in this case. So you have to do
Oh, I see. I
mean to
see.
do a new to do that set ID, and
And there's
yes,
like a UUID
yes,
like
and
that.
no, you have a static method that is called random UID. That random UID, yeah, that's string
Beautiful.
because it's not a string by default.
Okay. To string.
Yes,
There we go. Now we'll also need to do new. Do we still need to set completed to false?
by default it will be false because it's like a primitive boolean,
Okay.
so it will be false.
Okay. Cool. That should be all we need then. Do we need to take anything off of our to do entity class?
That's a good question. I think yeah, we now have to remove this.
Yeah. So we can keep the ID one though, right?
Yes, you have to keep it so that it can do the mapping with the primary key on database.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. So let's. That should work. This should work.
Finger
Well,
cross.
we'll see in 30 seconds. I think I'll stick to the local dev after this. It's all right. But we'll
And
get.
this the good thing is that it also allows us to show some stuff that can go wrong and try
Yeah,
to fix
exactly.
them. So we
Yeah,
also
just
done
like
that
we
that
said,
way.
sometimes it's good when the bad things happen because then we can show
Exactly.
everyone how to fix it.
Yes.
So here we go. H2 dialect. That's always towards the end. I'm just pattern matching. Okay, there we are. Let's hit a refresh. To dos. I already know that's gonna pass. I'm not even waiting for it. There we go. 200.
Woo!
There it is. Uh, and this gives us an opportunity to test our front end application, which I'm not doing a good job right now for the pending states. That delete was really quick.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that he did something because uh, we haven't created the one with the ID 123 that that was shown. I don't know. Sorry, that was the actual the title, not the ID. Okay.
Yeah. So when we
Yeah.
get them, we actually the user never knows it, but there's that UUID that we
Yep.
created.
Yep.
And so when we delete, that's getting passed through inside of the payload there. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how we know to do it.
Yep.
So 1, 2, 3, add it back in, toggle it back. Hey, it's almost like it got warmed up. That's kind of weird. I was worried it was going to have that kind of delay all the way through, but look at that. Those are near instant versus the first couple. I wonder if the Tomcat was starting up or something or
Normally,
cache.
no.
No
Once
idea.
you have the log that say that Tomcat has started, I think everything is already set.
Hmm. Well, dude, I think
Yeah,
we did it. We did
we,
it. We're
we
done.
finally.
Woo!
It was longer than expected, but at the end we managed to do it.
Yeah,
The
only
simple
10
to do.
files. That's not a big deal. Three of those are like dependencies and dev containers
Yep.
and the proxy. And I guess we needed to touch this a little bit. I probably could have written this a little bit better in a way that's more extensible for us to just kind of pass in like a domain here instead
Mm-hmm.
to prefix these things. But that's it's not a real project, so we're okay. But thanks for showing me how real programming works. Tine. It was fun to come back to this and just see how all these things connect. Like I said, it's really neat to see all these things like how the whole framework's built to interconnect like this.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like the thing that throws me all the time is I just need to know that system so much better now. So like I don't need to know all that much about how Java works. I need to know how Spring works in order to use this effectively. And I feel like we saw that a little bit, just like with, oh well, we need to use this annotation instead, or we needed to use this strategy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not dunking on it in any way. It's just different than what I'm used to. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So
Mm-hmm. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
It's true that for, I mean, I would say that for real life projects, you kind of need to have those kind of frameworks because they kind of take the EV work out of the equation for you. So
Hmm.
you don't have to like specify everything. So for example, with the GPA repository, we were able to like query the database without that having to write the SQL query to do the actual job. So
Yeah.
when you have like a real world project, those kind of framework are very useful and they save a lot of time in the end.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. With what I'm used to, I like working with things at that level because like I'll still do sometimes like a repository layer. So like to get my information, like maybe I'm getting it from memory, or maybe I'm getting it from, my database, or
Hmm.
maybe that's a Mongo database, or maybe that's a I don't know, like a Postgres database. But at the end of the day, it's like I can create that repository and expose it instead as functions, and to me that's just a little easier to work with.
Hmm.
But I do have to do all that legwork of architecting everything that the Spring Boot framework is kind of architected for you already. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's maybe the trade off. But
Mm.
yeah, well, T, thanks so much for stopping by, teaching me today, getting us all caught up on what real programming looks like.
I don't
And
think I succeeded in this role, but at least I try
hey,
my best.
you did it, man. You killed it. And just looking at NX Rocks, wanted to thank you for all the work you've been doing into all these plugins. Looking forward to plugin number 6 coming out whenever
Stay
it comes
tuned.
out. I
I
know
will post something on Twitter.
that we'll be keeping our eyes peeled. So yeah, thanks so much for the work you've done, and thanks so much for spending all this time getting me caught up on Spring Boot.
My
So
pleasure.
look at all you've got. Your whole the whole audience is standing up and applauding you right now. So
Thank you, guys.
awesome. We'll end it on that. Thanks everyone for stopping by. We'll do another one next week on our NX releases. So if you want to check out all the new cool stuff we've been doing in NX, uh,
Hmm.
stay tuned for next time. And Teen, we'll have to get you when you come out with number 6. Maybe we get you back on and you can show us all the stuff that goes on with that. How about that?
Sure, with my
It's
pleasure.
it's a deal. All right.
Yep.
We'll see y'all next time.
Thank you very much. Bye, everyone.